I talked about myself crossing $1 million in my business using this method. I did it with only an audience of about 3,000 people on my Facebook profile. I had about 350 people in a Facebook group and a mailing list of about 1,200 people. That's it. When I'm in rooms with multi-million dollar business owners, we're all saying the same thing. Master one platform to your million, and then you can branch out to the others. So all I want them to do is do their research. They think they're researching me, but what they're really doing is indoctrinating themselves into my way of thinking, believing, my offers, so that when they're ready, they're just going to move. So I trust that's going to do the work for me.
If you want to build a legitimate, profitable online business without shiny objects, without the hypey gimmicks, and without the stress and overwhelm, if you want to make more money without having to be present online all day, every day, pumping out content that nobody sees and hustling DMs to generate leads and sales, then this is the place for you. Welcome to the Digital Trailblazer Podcast, your online business university, where you'll learn how ordinary people start from ground zero with no influence, no email list or audience to sell to, and no business or marketing experience, and go from working 9-to-5 jobs to building successful 6- and 7-figure online businesses and all the steps in between. Learn the strategies that worked and what didn't. Learn the mistakes that they made and how to avoid them, and then learn their plans for scaling their businesses and taking things to the next level. All so that you can build your business faster and easier and make more money without sacrificing the things that are important to you in your life. I'm your host, Leah Ray Getz, and with me is my husband, Todd. Now let's get to it with today's guest. Hey, Digital Trailblazers, I'm super excited. Welcome, Shameca. We are very blessed to have you with us today. Why don't you go ahead and give a little context to the audience, let them know what you're all about.
So I'm Shameca Tankerson. I'm creator of something called the Rapid Income Transformation Method. What we do is we teach our clients how to market their companies using a single platform, which is Facebook, not the one people love the most, to make $1 million using only an hour a day. So what we're all about is making millions simple business models, simple strategies that rapidly accelerate your revenue. And I think the thing I want to share just as an introduction, yes, I've done it, but I've also helped other people do it. But I've done it to the tune of doing $1 million in a month as well, and $1 million in a single day.
That's wild. This is amazing. So how, because there's a lot of people who are on Facebook. There's a lot of people who are working way more than an hour on Facebook a day and are clearly not getting any results, but definitely nowhere near the kind of results that you're talking about. So dive into that what are you doing and what are they doing wrong? Like,
yes.
How do you actually get this to work?
So there's 3 main components to this that we use. One is a power offer, which I believe in the power of one. It's one main offer that you focus on that has multiple ways to access you so that you're not selling multiple things and getting people confused or yourself confused about what to post and what to do every single day. So that simplifies things a whole lot. Then there's the power content method, which is what we're going to spend the most time talking about today, because that's the meat and potatoes of this. This is how to get people to know, like, and trust you so they actually buy from you. And then the last one is our power hour. That's that 1 hour a day where we're looking at daily cash creation activities that move the needle forward as opposed to just kind of playing around and scrolling.
Okay. So yes, I think a lot of people get lost in the doom scroll, right? And they spend hours there and they spend hours engaging and talking and commenting and nothing ever goes anywhere. So how do we avoid that? How do we actually use our content? Walk us through your process to use content to really be the driver here.
So here's the first thing to think about. There's two main premises I want to give you before I even dive into the power content. The first one is everyone is not your customer. That's the first thing. Mm-hmm. Everyone is not your customer. So we're not just yelling into the ethers, hoping somebody or everyone hears what we have to say and then filters themselves. So when you start with that premise, you show up differently in your content because you know exactly who you're speaking to and why. And so it's almost like a dog whistle to those people who are meant to hear from you so that you don't need a huge audience. I talked about myself crossing $1 million in my business using this method. I did it with only an audience of about 3,000 people on my Facebook profile. I had about 350 people in a Facebook group and a mailing list of about 1,200 people. That's it. The second piece that I want to start with, so everyone is not your customer, is the first piece. And the second piece is you got to be you 100%. Got to be you 100%. So this is what power content looks like. It's based on the premise of know, like, trust. And we all know people buy from people they know,
like,
and trust, right? And so we have three main components to the power content method, but there's 4 C's. And so I'll give you the C's right now. The first C is character. The second C is connection. The third C is credibility. And the last one is conversion. So those are the 3 types of content that we're doing that are all associated with know, like, trust. So character content is getting the right people to know you, not to see you, but to know you. What do you stand for? What will you die on a hill for? What are your philosophies when it comes to what you do that makes you different from everyone else? So this is really digging into your value system. And we want that type of content out there so that the right people can filter and screen themselves. So that's the premise of this is like, we want the people who are engaging in our world to filter and screen themselves based on how we're showing up on that social media platform. The second C to this is connection. This is the one I have the most fun with. And I have the most fun teaching this because people don't believe me when I tell them this. This is like all of your quirks and idiosyncrasies. What do you like and love? Like, if you're a dog lover, play it up, right? I have a friend. Every time I see people posting about Brussels sprouts, I know it's her. Like you. People send her Brussels sprouts recipes. I had a client double her revenue just by talking about burgers everywhere she went. So I'm in the US, she was in Australia. So when she traveled to the US, what burger joint should I go to? She'd share the types of burgers, and it blew her mind. At first, she was a little bit like, oh, I don't know if I should be talking about this. I should be talking about my business. Her business skyrocketed because people found a point of connection. If you want to resonate with somebody and you want to build that know, like, trust faster, the fastest way to do that is to find a point of connection. My hair. People buy from me because of my gap in my teeth. They buy because of my hair. They know I love chocolate covered pineapples. Like, all of those things that you think would not make you any money. I travel a lot. I make more money when I travel than when I'm like head down trying to sell stuff in my business. It's insane. So connection is a huge piece of this. And then the third component of it is not character. We did that. Character, connection, credibility. Okay. This is about you building and demonstrating your authority, but not through teaching. Most people do how-to content on social media, how to do X in this many days. That's great. But what people really want to know is, can you help me? Will this work? And will it work for me? The people who have the money in their hands, what we're really trying to do is shake out our audience for the 3% of people who are ready to buy right now. And they are asking specific questions. Are you the best person for the job? Can you help me? Do you help people like me? And will this work for me? Right. And so in this credibility content, we're looking for things like behind the scenes with you and your clients. It's not just testimonials. A lot of people will share their client wins, and they'll do that till they'll beat us to death with their client wins. That's one way. But then also, when you look at your client wins and you do case studies, how can you break that down so that you can show us what was your role in assisting your client in doing that? It's third-party endorsements. So have you been featured on podcasts? Like, we're here hanging out with you guys on Digital Trailblazers. I'll definitely be using this in my power content. Just different little things like that. So again, this is about getting the right people to trust us. So character content, the right people to know us. Connection content, the right people to like us. Conversion content, the right people to trust us. And then the one where people either go all the way to one scale or the other, they're like either leaning way to the left or way to the right, is conversion content. Mm-hmm. If I audit people's profiles, the first thing that I usually look for is, can I tell as soon as I get to your page what it is you have to offer and how do I take my next steps to get there? There's either not enough of that content or there's too much of that content. And that's usually where most people land. And this is not those like what I call soft CTAs or soft call to actions. DM me if you want more info. DM me. We're talking straight up selling. This is the offer. This is what it is. This is what is included. This is who it's for. This is how you get access.
So really pushing straight to paid.
Straight to paying. And again, this is about getting the right people to buy.
Yeah. I think that first point of getting the right people in there in the first place is just so much of, I mean, it's really the key to making everything else work. Because if you're doing the burger videos, if you're doing the videos about your hair or whatever else it is,
Yes.
Yeah, you could do that for a generic audience, but if you want to turn those people into buyers, you need to be speaking specifically to the people that are going to be your clients, right? And
Absolutely.
so can you go more into depth about that? Like how do you even reach that audience on Facebook, or how do you build that audience?
So for me, it is really about, so audience building is part of it, but the main thing is a lot of people have a gold mine of clients and customers that are sitting there already that they're not tapped into. Right.
Mhm.
And so even when I look at the nuance into, like, if I were to do a live stream, how do I put the title in my live stream so that anybody scrolling through who has the problem that I solve knows it? So most people will do titles or headlines on post and they will talk about, let's say, the ultimate goal that people want to have, like they want to make more money.
Mhm.
But what we really want to look at is, okay, I want to look at, if I talk about making more money, I'm pretty much going to draw people to me who don't have any money, right?
Mm.
The
Yes.
fastest way to find people who say they can't afford it is to talk about how much money you can help people make. But it's a subtle nuance to that is to talk about the people who have made money. Like for me, for instance, I'm helping people go from 6-figure years to 6-figure months, right? I'm helping people take, one of the things I find with entrepreneurs that are trying to get to the $1 million mark is they struggle with this thought that if I build $1 million business, I'm going to exchange my time freedom for that, or I'm going to have less profit in my business. And I'm like, you could have a simple business model with a lean team, even a solo business that is extremely profitable. First year we crossed $1 million in business. It was me and a part-time assistant, 40% profit. It was amazing, right? And so even me, I made the mistake of thinking, oh, now I'm at the $1 million mark. Let me add team. And I realized, wow, profit's going down, stress is going high. What if, in order for me to get to 8 figures, which is what we're on the road to right now, I didn't have to do any of those things? And so now we're dialing back. We're back down to a 3-person team, and profit is going back up again, not just because we're not spending it on team, but because my focus, I can focus on what I need to focus on to drive revenue inside of the business. And so when I take that philosophy and I'm putting it into my connection content by sharing that I get to travel the world because my business is so lean and simplified, or in my character content, like, I'll die on a hill for this. I will fight anybody who says that you can't build a multi-million dollars with a small audience, or you can't build $1 million business on Facebook or doing organic. I am the example of that, and I teach people how to do it every day. So it's the nuance in it is making sure, like, the clickable titles, the headlines, and then how you demonstrate each of the 4 C's in your business is always leaning back to the liability that they have from the assets that they've actually built inside of their business.
That's what really resonated with me about your methodology here, is that typically when people say, oh, organic Facebook, right, quote, organic, what they're really talking about is joining Facebook groups, sending a bunch of friend requests to people that you don't know, spamming DMs, and building their audience that way. Versus what you're talking, you're using your personal Facebook account, right? But you're just creating content, and you're letting that content get organic reach in order to build an audience, right?
Yes. So we're leaning into using the algorithm to our benefit. Everybody talks about the algorithm being such a bad thing. No, I'm like, when I use my personal profile without paying, I get reach to people that don't even know me. So I'm growing my audience that way. When I am in person, networking, doing live events, even hanging out in spaces where my ideal clients are, for me, if we want to talk about funnels, my Facebook profile is the bottom of my funnel. Like, that is the place where people start. So I'll just say, hey, let's connect on Facebook, because I know that the content that I'm going to be doing is going to warm up. The warmest people are going to move through that funnel, and the coldest people will be nurtured by the content that I do.
So your call to action in a lot of this is, hey, just connect with me on Facebook.
So friend requests and followers usually happen from, like, my organic, like when I'm out networking, I'm adding people.
Okay.
But also, because I have that's the other thing, is I've turned my page into a digital creator page. So it allows me to do some things that normal profiles can't do. So I get the benefit of both worlds. I still get the organic reach of being able to reach people I don't know from having a personal profile, while being able to schedule posts, while being able to do Facebook ads from my personal profile if I wanted to. If I wanted to like boost a post for some reason, I could do all of those things. So it's actually quite fun to watch it happen, because people just find me because they watched a random video or a random reel or a random post that I did, and they didn't even know me, but it's just because a friend of a friend commented on my post, and then Facebook said, hey, I think you might want to see this because a lot of your friends are looking at it.
So this is an option on your personal profile to turn it into a digital creator profile.
Exactly, which is different from some of the other options. So if you just turn it into, I can't think of what the other options are, but when you turn it into a digital creator, you still get the benefit of both, and you can run ads.
Yeah, I think of set as a professional profile.
There you go. That's the other one. And so you're missing some of the options that are available to you when you set it as professional.
I'll have to investigate that a little bit further. Okay. So what's the magic sauce on call to actions, right? Because you're talking about selling and direct selling, not the soft sell.
Yes.
What are our ratios? How should people be doing that?
Okay. So I don't really do ratios, but I will tell you this, because here's the thing. I'm not a cookie cutter business model person. It's not like you have to do it this way in order for it to work, because the secret sauce is you. The more you are, the more money you're going to make. And so whatever's good for you is going to be good, because I'm about to get a little woo. It's about the energetic signature of what you're writing. It's about the energetics and the frequency behind what you write, how you show up, more than the structure of what it is. I tell clients, when you get this part right, you can burp and get clients. You'll be like, I did 2 words and got a $10,000 client. It literally does work that way. And so I will say this, CTA. So there's a hard CTA and there's soft CTAs. Now, I have been selling on my Facebook profile for almost 12 years now. I'm like, do I want to say this out loud? I have never been shut down by Facebook ever. I've never been in
Knock on wood.
yeah, I've never been in Facebook jail for 12 years. And that's because we have another method that I didn't talk about in the beginning, the proof of work method, which we call POW. So what happens is when we do a CTA to connect with us, we're either going to move everyone, and everybody knows the one word CTAs that you can do, or raise hands post, people will call it, or lead gen post, 2-step post. They're called a lot of things, where you have people comment a word, and then that activates whatever you're going to do next, whether you're moving them to DM or whatever you're going to do. So we use those a lot. So if we use those, we're moving people into Messenger. Mm-hmm. If we go direct to CTA, what we're typically doing is sending people to that proof of work page. Facebook can't shut you down from doing that. So everything that I'm doing a CTA to is going to go to a proof of work page or a lead page that then takes them to the checkout form. And I'll tell you what the difference is between the two of them. So it is a direct CTA to buy, or a comment for value, comment so I can send you the details, right? And when we do that, it's not a mixture of both, because if you put the link anywhere, people are going to stop commenting for value.
Right.
So if you are going to go comment for value, you need to like hold on for dear life and just leave it that way, because we want to work with human nature and not against it. And we're all nosy and we all want to know what it is. And if we can't find it, we're going to ask for it, right? So if you go that route, you want to stick with it. Now, to the proof of work page, there's one that leads to an application. Okay, so the one that leads to an application, which will be a long form sales conversation that you would be having with someone if your program needs to talk to people before they purchase, or you really love selling from a conversation, which is where most people should start, because most people, if you don't understand selling, you're not going to be able to sell directly from your page. If you don't understand selling, you're not going to be able to sell directly from a Google document, because it all takes sales psychology in order to make that work. So you do want to move people into conversations. Okay. When you do this, instead of sending them directly to, let's say, a link that has the calendar to book with you, you send them to a proof of work page that is filled with a preponderance of evidence. On that page, there is a link that says apply. So they get to choose. The only thing they can choose is to watch the videos, the case studies, look at your proof of work that you have there, or apply. And if that is always there, what we're creating is this digital footprint that is basically like an evergreen application machine, that no matter where I meet people, at some point in time, they're going to see that link there when they're ready, as they're doing their research, because I have so much content for them to go through. they know to just click that link and they can apply at any time. So it's like having, again, an evergreen application machine. The second one is the landing page. So I do sell direct to checkout, but for Facebook, to bypass getting in trouble for that, I always put up a landing page. So it's usually just a landing page with an image for the program or an image of me and then a link. And when they click the link is then what takes them to the checkout page. No descriptions, no sales page, none of that stuff. It just goes straight to checkout.
Interesting. Okay. So not an actual like funnel page where they're opting in and going to the next page. It's just a page with a link they click.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. So I know a lot of people struggle with creating content on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of insights can you provide, or what strategies on frequency, on ideas, on how to just put it out there? Because even myself, I'll get on streaks and I'm doing great. And then, life happens, right? So what should we be posting? How often should we be posting? How do we keep those ideas flowing?
So first thing is I work with a lot of really driven people. So driven people get ideas and then they go balls to the walls. And then they're like, oh my gosh, I need a break, right? They can't be consistent. And so this is what I always share with my clients. Pick frequencies that no matter what happens in your life and your business, you can always maintain, even if it feels like you're being a loser and that you're not doing very much. I'd rather you be consistent over time than starts and stops because you're exhausted because you said, I'm going to go Facebook Live for 30 days, or I'm going to, post every day. So what the average person does and what I do, I can be inspired and do more, but I'll typically make sure that I have at least 3 posts a day that have those power content pieces in it. Did I say a day? That was a lot.
Yes. I know. It's like, holy, that's a lot. It's like, that was not what I was hoping she was going to say.
Oh my gosh. No, absolutely freaking not. 3 posts a week. 3 posts a week with 1 live stream or a live show, if you want to call it that. So I have been going live every Tuesday for about 7 years. As I've gone into it, like we're 7 years into it, there's times where I don't go live because I'm like, I don't want to today. I have enough content out there for it not to be really noticeable. And here's the thing. I'm not looking for thousands of people to be on live with me. I'm just doing my job of creating that digital footprint. Because the thing is people are going to research you. They're going to take time to go through all of that. And I have this process called rapid resonance where we're looking to create resonance with people. And there's levels to this so that we're moving people through. So all I want them to do is do their research. They think they're researching me, but what they're really doing is indoctrinating themselves into my way of thinking, believing, my offers, so that when they're ready, they're just going to move. So I trust that's going to do the work for me. So 1 live video per week, 3 pieces of content. If you can commit to something like that, where you're consistently doing it every single week, it is game changing. It's game changing. And anytime you're inspired, you can do more. There's times where I post 10 times in a day because stuff's just coming and I'm like, ooh, I want to say this. And ooh, I want to say that. And so those days will be there. And there'll be times where I'm selling something where I will do more. So in my sales, I don't launch. I don't do launching. And so in my sales cycles, I will post an offer a day. Actually, let me back that up. I won't post an offer a day. My commitment and what I ask my clients to do is like, if you're really trying to sell, make an offer a day. So what happens is if you don't have a sales call or you don't have a person where you've made an offer to, then your requirement is to post what we call a power offer. So you have to make an offer as a post, and it can be any kind of post. It can be a reel, it can be a story. It doesn't matter. If you don't individually invite somebody into working with you for that day, then you must post an offer that day.
So is the type of content you're creating, is it typically video content, or are these written posts? What format are these taking?
It's typically written. I'll throw my age out there. I'm kind of old. So I'm 49. So I'm not like up to date on like really how to do stories. So don't go looking at my stories trying to see how to do that. It's not going to work. Or reels. Like I do them, but they're not my main content. So my main content are written posts and live streaming, live video.
And do you always put an image with your written posts?
Not always. So I have these punchy posts that I do, and I've been doing them a lot this week. So you can scroll through my page and kind of see what I've been up to this week. But I will do what I call background posts, where we pick the background from Facebook. And it's just when I have an idea or a thought. Mm-hmm. And the way that I do this, I know some people teach doing background posts and then putting the rest of the post that you want to put in the post in order to like boost it in the algorithm. I mean, I'm not judging anybody. I kind of am. That's dumb. You don't need to do that. What I will do though, sometimes I just have that one idea and it really is powerful. So I'll punch that idea out, but then I'll have a subsequent idea. So I'm literally just finishing my thoughts as they're coming, either throughout the day or right after. That's when I'll comment in the post. It's not some sneaky strategy to boost the algorithm. It's the conversation piece to the punchy post. So I'll do those. And then the rest of the post are, yes, imagery is paramount, because why are people on social media? Anybody want to guess?
To be social.
To be social, right? And so I am always sharing that what we're looking at or who we are being is a human that actually has a business. So when you're using your personal profile, it's not, I'm turning my personal profile into my business profile and that's how I'm going to use it. You're on there being a human that just happens to have a business, which is why those 4 C's come into play. And so when people are being social, we have to stop their scroll. So we're either going to stop their scroll, you know, with the way that we look for the day on our live stream, or the header, right? That clickable title is going to grab them because they're like, oh, I want to know what that is all about. Or the imagery is going to make them look first and draw them in. And then they're going to go, what is this about? So it's really important that the imagery grabs attention, not on purpose. So don't try to grab attention, because that's not going to work either. But what you don't want to do with the imagery is do branded photos. So you don't want to put your logo on everything all the time. And I see so much of that. That looks like an ad. It looks like business. They're not there for business. So selfies of you work amazing. What I do or tell clients to do is, like, when you're looking amazing, doesn't matter where you are or you're in an amazing place, do emoji faces, get all the pictures you can. If you looked at my phone, it's crazy because in different, you'll see me like, all the emoji faces that I think the emotions of my post have, I'll make those faces that day, take selfies. I do branded photo shoots. I'd love to be doing them quarterly. I'd be lying if I said I was. Typically I'll do 1 a year. Sometimes I'll get 2 in a year so that I have photos to go through. But using those as well, that really capture the attention of people. But the key to it is making sure that the image that you use matches the emotion of the post.
Yeah, I do the same thing. If I'm going to put makeup on, I'm taking a bunch of selfies.
Yeah, like brown, thumbs up, fingers.
Yeah. Whoa.
Your crazy face. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. All of those things so I can use it. Because the worst thing I can see is somebody like really like kind of like standing in their on a character post and standing on their heel and they're all in it and it's really powerful and inspiring and they're like,
yeah.
Like, what is this post even doing?
Cognitive dissonance. I don't know what's going on.
Yes, complete dissonance. It just does not match. One of these things is not like the other. So the emotion of the imagery needs to match the emotion you want to evoke from the post.
That's really interesting about, you know, the written post with the image versus reels or stories, because, you know, we've always heard, and I think this is true, but that Facebook and Instagram, like all the social media platforms, they want people to use their newest features, and so that's what they promote the most. And so that's another thing that I like about what you're doing, is that you don't have to get on the latest trend or the shiniest object that Facebook is throwing out at you. You can still do the typical picture post with some text on it, and you can be very successful just by laser focusing in on that and doing it really well.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up, because that's a hill I'll die on. You know, when Clubhouse came out, like, I don't jump on different platforms.
What club?
Exactly. I always go to the platform to grab my name because it's my IP. So I have a presence, if you want to call it that, across all platforms, right? But where I play is Facebook. And here's the thing, most multi-million-dollar business owners that I know that have done organic or even have a social presence, they will all pretty much say the same thing. When I'm in rooms with multi-million-dollar business owners, we're all saying the same thing. Master one platform to your million, and then you can branch out to the others. Preeminence and being around, for me, I'm like, it's not really the real preeminence that we're looking for. We're looking at perceived preeminence. People think I'm on social media all the time. I am not. I'm on my couch watching Netflix. Just the way that I can do content makes you feel like I'm always there.
And the other thing I like about this is just the simplicity of it, because complexity doesn't scale well, right? Simplicity is what scales. And even just when we say, getting the 7 figures, like so many times we'll have clients come in and they'll try something for a while, they'll have a little bit of success. Like, for example, Facebook ads. They'll come in and they'll be spending $5 or $10 a day on Facebook ads. And it's like, oh, great. Our leads are coming in. They're only like $1 or $3 a piece. And we're having success. We're building the Facebook group. And then they're like, okay, should I do Google ads now? Should I do YouTube? And I was like, no. Okay, we could scale this to multiple 7 figures if you wanted. And then maybe let's go to something else.
Yes.
But, it's like for some reason, the natural tendency is to add more things rather than just focus on, and I don't know why that is, but you can get so much further just by focusing in on one thing. And that's why I love what you're doing here.
Yeah. I think it's funny to watch because, I've been doing this a while and taking hundreds of people through my body of work. Well, probably thousands at this point at all levels. And that's the thing, is like you watch people do this where they're like, okay, even when they get a result, they're like, all right, we were able to do this. Now what else should I do? Do it again and again and again and again. And that's the thing with the content, Leah, when you were asking what should they post, how often, when we look at the structure of the content, it gets better as you get better, right? So the more you do it, that's where mastery is. It's in the repetition. Your millions are in the repetition. You're going to be bored because it's going to seem like you're saying the same thing over and over again. But if I just started banging out jingles right now, like we kind of just met, guys, and you would be able to finish these songs and jingles with me because we all have had our brain cells bought by these companies with repetition. And yet as entrepreneurs, business owners, as companies, sometimes we forget repetition is where we're going to get the buyer share, the lion's share of the people who want to buy from us, people repeating back to us what we do for a living. It takes time for that to happen. And this is not a time intensive thing. Like we've had clients come $380,000 for the year. And within 90 days of working with us, they're having a $380,000 quarter, right? Or $380,000 month. So it all depends on where your business is. But for those, like, let's say people are just starting out and they're just starting this process, it may take 6 months or 9 months for you to do a post and have people like really jump on your offers, even though you may be getting results along the way. And so people are like, I'm getting results, but it's that, I can't remember what it's called. It's not inertia. It's that feeling like they're always moving the bar, right? It's like, okay, I was not getting anybody to comment. Now people are commenting, but now what? Like that's the indication. And that's what the rapid resonance model that I teach is about. It's about basically calming people's nerves down so that they know what the indicators are that it's working. I can't remember the effect this is called, but if you think about the way numbers work, right? There's lots of numbers happening moving behind the decimal before it becomes a 1.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening with most people's businesses when they're rapidly accelerating. It feels like they're going slow because they're not in front of the decimal yet. And then they change and have to start over again, and the decimal has to start building. So if you can steady Eddie, once the decimal gets the multiplication of the numbers, when you're doubling and tripling, it starts moving a whole lot faster.
I love this. So quick question, because we haven't really talked too much about it. Engagement, because I know a lot of people feel like if they're going to be on a platform, now they need to like be engaging in all their friends on all these people's posts, or they need to be engaging in groups. Like, is that part of your process, or a little bit, a lot of it? Clear that up for folks.
Yeah, I have methodologies around all of that. However, it's not. So I told you we could do the hour a day. It's called a power hour. Inside of your power hour, there are 5 main activities that you do throughout the day that drive cash creation in your business. And as long as you do those things, and it's meant to be an hour, it's not meant to be 2 hours. High achievers are like, all right, if I do a power 5 hour, then I'm going to get more results. That's not how it works. We just want you to be able to be consistent, right? So you do your hour in the day, or you do your task for the day. And once they're done, you just move on. If you want to, go watch Netflix like I do, you go watch Netflix, right? So it's really about being intentional. I'm all about cash creation activities over just taking action as a whole, or even playing the numbers game. For me, it's quality over quantity, right? So I'm going to reach out to 5 people for the day. So yeah, we will have reach outs. I don't do cold outreach. I only do warm. So our content is what creates the opportunities for us to reach out, or our activities that we do on a regular basis, what creates those opportunities. Um, so if we're going to reach out, we're going to reach out to warm prospects. I do have a methodology called Facebook on steroids, where I do teach people how to use groups, but it's very different than what most people do. The Facebook on steroids method is not about finding clients. It's about moving people from those groups to the bottom of your funnel, right? To your profile. So basically showing up as a leader in those groups and a support to the admin of the group in a way that showcases who you are, so that people are just curious and then they move to where all the activity we want them to see is happening anyway. So there's no need for us to be in the Facebook group doing the thing, and no need for us to friend request everybody in there.
Okay. So this isn't about creating your own group. It's about just going into other people's groups.
Yes. Yes. As a matter of fact, I try to dissuade my clients from doing any kind of leverage, like building a group, and I'll explain why, or even sometimes doing a masterclass or a challenge until they've reached at a minimum of 6 figures in their business. I would say about $120,000 consistently in business, or I'll say a consistent $10,000 a month for at least 90 days. And then it moves them into the next phase of business that I call phase 2, which is the leverage phase that they're moving into, where they're starting to do group things. Here's why: when you create your own Facebook group, that now becomes the strategy. Remember how I said my profile allows me to use the algorithm? Well, if you only have 100 people in your Facebook group and you post in there, that's all that gets to see it. It can't go out anywhere else. You don't get the benefit of the extra salesperson, the algorithm, helping you push your content out to people you don't even know. So you're limited. Not even your friends get to see what you're doing every day. So now we're doing the same process. We might be using power content inside of the group. When I started really focusing on the growth of my group, I think my group now, it's still not that big. I think we have, I don't know, maybe 3,000 people in it. We started growing it at the beginning of this year, because as my company started growing, I needed my team to be able to support with some of the things that I do organically. And so doing it inside of the group, because you can make them admins and they can, as you comment, all of those things. That's the only reason why we started doing it. But I still get more bang for my buck when I'm outside on my personal profile.
Well, Shameca, this has been an awesome conversation. If there's one little nugget you'd want to leave with the audience, what would that be?
Can I do 1.5? 1.5 would be you 100%. You don't have to be me. You don't have to be Todd. You don't have to be Leah. You don't have to be anybody. You don't have to be whoever that big name person that just popped into your head. Who you are is exactly perfect. You are enough for who needs you next. And the last thing that I would say is trust yourself. When it comes to content creation, we're grabbing people's posts and changing 3 words and then posting it, wondering why it's not working, because it's about that energetic signature. So if what comes through you is a jumbled up sentence with, 1 sentence for the day and an image, I promise you that's going to work way more powerfully than you going to my page, copying my post, and changing a few words.
Awesome. I love that. So if people want to learn more about you, where should they head?
So I think I have a gift for you guys. Here's where you should head: to my Facebook profile.
I know. I could have answered that for you. I was like waiting for it. Queued up.
To my Facebook profile. Across all platforms, I am simply Shameca Tankerson. But Facebook is where I play. It's where you'll see me. You'll interact with me most of the time, as opposed to repurposed content, because that is the platform where I play. So please connect with me there. But also I do have a gift for you, which is my power content method. I have the power content playbook that goes into detail into how the power content method works, along with that rapid resonance scale that I was talking about, so they can see how that works as well.
That's awesome. We'll have all the links to everything in the show notes and description. This is going to been an amazing conversation, Shameca. Thank you so much.
It's been fun for me too. You guys are great interviews.
You've been listening to the Digital Trailblazer podcast. For show notes and information about today's guest, head to digitaltrailblazer.com. Now, if you love this episode, if you got some value, make sure you leave us a review and subscribe. And be sure to share this episode with anyone you know who could use help to build their business. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.